Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old Charles, your favorite channel for coin collectors, history lovers, and anyone curious about the hidden value of old coins. Today, we're diving deep into the story of the Philippines 1 peso coin from 1993, a piece that may look ordinary at first, but actually carries an amazing history, interesting details, and collectible value that you should know about. To understand this coin, we need to travel back in time. The 1 peso coin of 1993 belongs to the Flora and Fauna series of Philippine coins, issued by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP. This series was minted from 1983 to 1994 and was designed to highlight the rich biodiversity of the Philippines. The obverse side of the coin shows the portrait of José Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. Rizal was not only a writer and revolutionary, but also a symbol of freedom and independence. His face has appeared on various denominations of Philippine currency for decades. Now, flip the coin over and you'll see something very unique, the white-collared kingfisher bird, locally known as salaksak. This was part of the effort to showcase native wildlife, making the Flora and Fauna series stand out among other Philippine coin issues. The year 1993 itself is special because it was a time of transition. Just 2 years later, in 1995, the BSP would introduce a completely new coin series called the Improved Flora and Fauna series, and later on, the BSP series. That makes the 1993 peso coin one of the later issues of its original design, and therefore very interesting to collectors. Now let's talk about value, the part every coin collector loves. In circulation, the 1993 1 peso coin is, of course, worth its face value of Cuban peso 1 Philippine peso. But to collectors, its value depends on rarity, condition, and demand. If you have a circulated coin, scratched, worn, or dull, it usually sells for Cuban peso 5 to Cuban peso 1.5 in the Philippines. A better preserved coin, with clear details and only light wear, can be worth around Cuban peso 20 to 40 Cuban pesos. A coin in uncirculated or mint condition, shiny and untouched by circulation, could fetch Cuban peso 80 to Cuban peso 150 from collectors. On international markets, especially online auctions, the value might be higher. Collectors outside the Philippines often pay more due to shipping costs and rarity in their regions, sometimes as much as $2 to $5 USD for a really nice piece. Now, there's one important point: errors and varieties. Some 1993 1 peso coins may have striking errors, like misaligned dies, off-center strikes, or unusual markings. These are rare, but if you own one, the value can jump significantly, sometimes even reaching Cuban peso 500 or more depending on the uniqueness. Condition is everything when it comes to coin collecting. Collectors use a grading system ranging from poor all the way to mint state. The coin is heavily worn, José Rizal's face and the kingfisher bird are barely visible. Value stays close to face value. The design is visible but still worn. Such coins might sell for Cuban peso 10, 20 slight, where on the highest points, details are still sharp. Collectors pay Cuban peso 30, 60, only tiny traces of wear, almost mint. These can go for Cuban peso 70, 120. Perfect, shiny, and never used in circulation. These are the most desirable, worth Cuban peso 100, 150 or even more depending on the buyer. If you happen to have one still in a sealed mint set from the central bank, then congratulations, you own a true collector's gem. This coin is not just about its monetary value. It's a piece of history. It represents the Philippines' dedication to showcasing its national hero and natural wildlife. For collectors, it's part of completing the Flora and Fauna series, which is one of the most loved Philippine coin series ever produced. Because it was minted in large numbers, the 1993 peso is still relatively easy to find, but getting one in perfect condition is where the real challenge lies. And remember, as time goes on, even common coins disappear from circulation, making them more valuable in the future. So, the 1993 Philippine 1 peso coin may not make you rich overnight, but it's a meaningful part of Philippine history and an important collectible for anyone building a coin collection. Its story connects us to José Rizal, to the unique wildlife of the Philippines, and to a fascinating chapter in the country's numismatic journey. We're going to explore one of the most interesting coins from the Philippines, the 1993 1 peso coin. Many people see it as just an ordinary coin, but behind its design and release lies a very long and fascinating history that connects to the nation's past, its national hero, and even its natural wildlife. So let's take a journey through time and uncover the story of this coin. To understand the 1993 1 peso coin, we need to go back many years in Philippine coinage history. The The Philippine peso as a currency traces its origins to the Spanish colonial period. During the 16th and 17th centuries, silver coins from Mexico and Spain, known as pieces of 8, circulated in the Philippines. These coins laid the foundation for what would later become the peso. Fast forward to the late 19th century. The Philippines was under Spanish rule, but the struggle for independence was growing. And that's where José Rizal enters the story. Rizal, who appears on the front of the 1993 1 peso coin, was a writer, doctor, and revolutionary thinker. His works, like Nalimi Tanhair and El Filibusterismo, exposed the abuses of Spanish colonizers and inspired Filipinos to fight for freedom. Though he was executed in 1896, his legacy lived on, and today he is honored as the national hero. When the United States colonized the Philippines in 1898 after the Spanish-American War, the peso was redesigned, showing American and Filipino symbols. Coins with images of liberty and Filipino figures circulated widely during the early 1900s. After independence in 1946, the newly established Republic of the Philippines created its own coinage. Over the decades, the peso went through several redesigns to reflect the changing history of the country. In the 1950s and 1960s, coins showed prominent leaders and symbols of independence. By the 1970s and 1980s, under the Central Bank of the Philippines, a new coin series was introduced to celebrate both heroes and nature. This brings us to the Flora and Fauna series, which was issued from 1983 until 1994. This series was very important because it combined the portraits of national heroes with native Philippine plants and animals. The idea was to celebrate not only the country's fight for freedom but also its natural richness, and this series, the 1 peso coin, carried the portrait of José Rizal on the obverse and the white-collared kingfisher bird, or saliksak, on the reverse. The kingfisher was chosen because of its beauty and wide presence in the Philippines, a symbol of the nation's connection to nature. The year 1993 itself is historically significant. This time, the Philippines was transitioning from the old central bank, established in 1949, to a new institution, the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, which was formally reorganized in 1993. This reorganization meant a stronger and more independent central bank to manage the nation's money. The coins from 1993, including the 1 peso, were among the last coins issued under the old Flora and Fauna design before being replaced with newer styles. Therefore, when you hold a 1993 1 peso coin, you're not just holding money, you are holding a piece of Philippine history. It represents the country's long struggle for independence, its pride in José Rizal, its love for nature, and even its economic reforms in the early 1990s. When it comes to coin collecting, one of the most important factors that determines the value of a coin is its condition. The same applies to the 1993 Philippine 1 peso coin. Even though millions of these coins were minted, their condition varies widely, and that difference can make a coin almost worthless or quite valuable in the eyes of collectors. Let's break this down in detail. Coin experts and collectors use a grading system to classify coins from poor to mint state, MS. This grading system helps to set fair prices and identify the best specimens for collections. Here's how the 1993 1 peso coin fits into this grading system. The coin is almost completely worn out. The face of José Rizal may be barely visible, the kingfisher bird on the reverse side might look like a faded outline, and the date, 1993, may be difficult to read. Coins in this condition are usually only worth their face value of Cuban peso 1. The coin is still heavily worn, but major details can be identified. Rizal's facial outline is visible, though smooth, and the bird's shape is recognizable. Collectors rarely pay extra for coins in this grade, though sometimes they may sell for Cuban peso 5, 10 if someone wants a filler coin. Moderate wear. The lettering is readable, Rizal's features are recognizable, and the bird shows some detail, though much of the original sharpness is gone. A coin in fine condition might be worth Cuban peso 10, 20. Light to moderate wear. Rizal's hair, eyes, and clothing details are still clear, and the feathers of the kingfisher are visible. The coin has a decent appearance, and collectors start showing interest in this grade. Value. Around Cuban peso 20, 40. Slight wear on the highest points, but overall very sharp. The kingfisher's details, like the wings and beak, are clear, and Rizal's face looks sharp. The coin still has some of its original shine. Value. Cuban peso 40, 70. Nearly perfect, with only small traces of handling visible under close inspection. Most of the original luster remains. These coins are very collectible and can fetch Cuban peso 70, 120. Absolutely no wear. The coin looks brand new, as if it just left the mint in 1993. It has full original shine and no scratches or dull spots. These are the rarest to find today, because most coins entered circulation. An MS coin can be worth Cuban peso 120, 150, sometimes more in auctions. Now let's talk about what actually affects a coin's condition. 1. Circulation asterisk. The more a coin passes through hands, the more it wears down. Coins from 1993 that were used daily for decades will almost always be in poor to fine condition. 2. Storage asterisk. Coins kept in wallets, pockets, or coin jars tend to scratch and lose their shine. On the other hand, coins stored in coin albums, cases, or protective sleeves remain sharp and shiny. 3. Cleaning asterisk. Many people try to clean coins with polish or chemicals, thinking it makes them more valuable. But in reality, cleaning often damages coins by removing the natural patina or causing scratches. Collectors prefer coins in their natural state, even if slightly dirty. 4. Environment asterisk. Humidity, moisture, and air pollution can cause coins to tarnish or corrode. For example, if a 1993 peso coin was kept in a damp area, it might show greenish or brownish corrosion spots, which lowers its value. Because of these factors, finding a well-preserved, uncirculated 1993 peso is becoming harder each year. If you want to keep your 1993 peso in the best condition possible, here are some tips. Store it in a coin capsule or a plastic holder to protect it from scratches. Avoid cleaning the coin with chemicals or abrasive materials. Leave it natural. Keep it in a cool, dry place to prevent corrosion. If you have multiple coins, make sure they do not rub against each other. Collectors value coins not only for their age, but for how well they've been preserved over the years. A 1993 coin that looks brand new is much rarer than a worn one, and that's why condition matters so much. So, while millions of these coins were minted, very few survive today in mint state condition. That's what makes condition the true key to unlocking the value of the 1993 Philippine 1 peso coin.